All right, we are here. Today is the 22nd of February. So today we're going to talk about how to get booked 12 months in advance for your business. Now, I know some of you may have maybe product-based business, but this is specifically geared for people that have small businesses or that have service-based business. Although some of the things that I'm talking about can be applied if you do have some sort of a product. It can also apply. So I'm going to go over two things. The first is making the booking, right? So at the end of the day, in order for you to start booking, right? We're not talking about the theory behind it, but we're just talking about practicalities. Okay, if you want to talk about theory, a good book by is I think it's Berg, The Go Giver. So I totally recommend that book because I read that book a while back. But we're talking about practical things that you can do in your business to actually get booked. Okay. So number one is go out and be visible, right? Whether it's physically, whether you're going out to network meetings, whether it's creating your own network meetings or creating your own meetups, create. So you have to become visible, right? For example, what am I doing? I'm being more visible here, being going on YouTube Live, uh, doing meetups, attending meetups. So you have to go and interact and go and start meeting people. That's the only way that you're going to get bookings. That's the only way that you're going to interact with people because if you're in a service based business and you're providing a service, you need to go and start interacting with people, right? Um, and number two, I think um, whether you're attending these events or you're creating these events, you have to make it so that it's regularly scheduled into your calendar, right? You have to make it reoccurring. You have to make it so that it's in your calendar and it's booked, right? Because if it's not booked in your calendar, it is never going to happen. And so that's really the only way that you're going to um, put it into your life, right? Because if you just say, "Hey, I'm gonna go and or I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna actually go to this event until I feel like it," right? It's never gonna happen. So you have to book it into your calendar, and you have to know when these events are happening. Be proactive, right? And the best way to do it is to actually host your own event, right? I know that takes a little bit of getting out of your comfort zone, but I think most people are afraid to attend or create their own event, whether it's online or whether it's offline. Um, Offline is a little bit tricky, is because it does require some cost involved, unless you have a meetup where you actually can host at a restaurant, right? It's just the some of these restaurants or some of these places actually like it, so that because it actually creates more business for them because like for example, I think one of my real estate I wouldn't say when I used to do meetups a while back, this guy used to show up to our meetups regularly, and now he has went out of his comfort zone and is hosting his own event. And so I've scheduled in my calendar, I think it's the 28th, that I'm gonna support him and I'm gonna try to attend that event. Although I did tore my ligament actually, so I may not be able to go, but I'll try to. I actually tore my ACL ligament while skiing over the weekend, so I'm can't really move. So anyway, that is the first thing you need to do is to go and interact. And if you can host your own event, that is probably the best way for you to start creating that momentum for you to start getting and bookings. All right. So you need to interact, you need to meet people, and that is the number one thing. All right. Though at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about three critical things that most people, I think, are missing out, um, or three critical things that is necessary. Okay. And in my 20 years of being an entrepreneur, I think these three things that I'm going to talk about at the end are things that I just recently learned, and I hope that it provides some value. But before I talk about that, I want to talk about the second item, which means when it comes to service and products, if you can try to make your service reoccurring, right? There may be some professions, like for example, real estate. You can make that reoccurring, right? Because it's a one-time transaction, whether you're buying or listing a home. But I do think that there is some reoccurring aspect that you can make these so that you can get booked, okay? Whether it's 12 months or, it's about reoccurring activities, reoccurring, making your contacts so that they are in your, constantly in their mind, right? And so if you can make the service reoccurring, so for example, I'm going to take, for example, Alan Sedin. He's one of our clients, and he made his services available reoccurring because he does what's called wonder shows, right? Um, and that happens throughout the summer. And so uh, he made it so that um, it happens every summer. So he's invited back, right? And that happened just by coincidence. And so, and then during Christmas time, he got invited through uh, being Santa Claus, dressing up as a Santa Claus. And he actually made it where he took pride and he took really took this event that he's doing as Santa Claus, and he really created his you know the really what do I say, his service premium so that he can be invited back, right? And by making his suit really nice and his the way he I guess dressed up, right? To make it premium so that he got invited back, right? So that only happened through his active uh being on Facebook. He does a lot of Facebook Live. So he was really, really uh, active and he did it regularly, right? So he made it reoccurring. So that's, to me, is the most important part when it comes to trying to get bookings, because if you're not consistent in what you're doing, you're not going to get booked or you're not going to get bookings, right? And so that's what he did, reoccurring. So, for example, in my business for my marketing agency, I knew from my past experience as in real estate, where a where I was constantly chasing business, I wanted to create a a let me just give me 1 second. Let me make sure that uh, let me just make sure and talk to my with my staff and making sure that I am live. Okay, and I'm just gonna message her and make sure that you could hear me and see me. And if you have any questions, please go ahead and put it in your chat session, because I do want to make these lives interactive rather than me talking and not being interactive. For that matter, there may be people that are watching me, or there may not be. So I just want to make sure. And the only places that I can't um, interact, it says all except Facebook groups and LinkedIn. It's only because I'm using Talk Studio multi-streaming capability. I am streaming to YouTube, Facebook group, and also LinkedIn as well. Okay. Um, so as I was saying, um, I'm one of the mistakes that I made was in my real estate business is constantly chasing business, right? And so I needed, so what was the solution is to make whatever services that I create, make it reoccurring, right? And so, um, and even when I switched over and learned about organic SEO marketing so that I can attract business, I created these service packages that I can help my clients and customers, um, so that it's reoccurring, right? Um, it actually it does have to be reoccurring. What it means is that it is certain activities that must be done on a monthly. Um, Not as much. The initial bulk of the stuff that needs to be done is at the front end, and then there are reoccurring activities that needs to happen in order to keep you consistently on Google's top ranking. So if you can make your services reoccurring, that is the best way for you to get booked, right? Now, if you have products or services that are not reoccurring, there are actually reoccurring products. One that I could think right off my head is there's that razor blade company. I forgot. I think it's Harry and something, right? I actually got a box from them for my son. He started shaving. He's in high school and starting to shave. So there's, they also mail out products on a monthly or a regular basis. I know there are companies out there that actually sell products, whether it's, clothes or socks, they mail out on a regular basis, and those are considered subscription based, right? So if it's not reoccurring, right, what can you do to make it so that um, that you can get more bookings? And that the only way to do that is you have to simplify the process and automate the process. And so, for example, I talked about it last week about the QR code strategy of doing giveaways with a local business. Their business is Caladad Grills, and they sell grills. And so if they do a giveaway every single month, right? That's if they're willing to do that. You can automate that process so that the only thing that you have to do is pick a giveaway, right? And this is probably another thing that I'm going to recommend to a real estate agent that we just recently onboarded. If she can, oh no, if he can automate that process of doing a giveaway. In this case, he's doing, I believe, he does giveaways on a regular basis. In the summer, he does pool giveaway, and so if he can automate that process where he can give away certain items on a regular basis, um, then it's just all he has to do is change out certain things and press a button, and it basically automates the process, right? And the same thing can be said of doing these YouTube. Now, when I do these YouTube lives, at the beginning, it was a lot of setup. It was a lot of logistic coordination, right? But now we have it to a point where we have a process for doing these YouTube lives on a regular basis, and that took a lot of like literally iterations of different, trying out different things, what works and what doesn't work. And so now we have a process for doing these, right? And the same thing can be said of now. I recently started a monthly meetup, and now I'm developing a process, right? So if you can develop a process, and that gets you in front of people so that you can meet them and book and create booking events, right? Basically, and automate that process, you in essence can really be booked way ahead, 12 months ahead. Like you could be booked for the whole year. And now, once you're booked to a point where now you are limited in your capacity to service your customers and clients, then it's a matter of now scaling, growing a team, and also possibly raising your prices to adjust for that. Okay. Lastly, before, the three things that I learned throughout my years of the first thing that I wanted to really learn, actually, I think it's, to be honest, like I've been in business, solopreneur for 20 years, and it didn't really hit me until the last couple of years, months actually, this past couple of months, is really when you're um, meeting or potentially meeting with people and talking with people to literally really think about not selling to them, but to really go whole, like really into that conversation with your potential customer client to really solve their problem, right? Because I think most of the time we go into a conversation with people to sell, right? But really to solve the problem, and whether they choose to decide to use your service or product, it's their decision, right? And don't let their outcome affect how you feel, but really just present the solution and it's up to them to make that decision, right? Um, and then I think number two, the hardest thing is making the ask. So what I mean by that is just asking people, asking at the end of the conversation, do you want to use our services or do you want this product, right? Because I think a lot of times it's really difficult subconsciously, I think, and that's why sometimes it's better to have salespeople do the ask, because as a owner of the business, it's hard to ask. It's I don't know, it's hard to explain, but um, making the ask. For example, like I was talking about Alan Sedin, um, when one of the things that I noticed, I was watching his Facebook Live, and he never mentions in his Facebook Live, hey, give me a call, or just asking, hey, if you want, I do events, and if you are looking for a cartage artist, contact me. So what I noticed is he never made the ask during his Facebook Live. And I said to Alan, you should literally be on those Facebook Lives, and at the end or even through the middle, not every single time, but you should make the ask, because some people may assume because you're on Facebook or when you're on live that you don't need business. But at the end of the day, all people need businesses, right? So it's a matter of being conscious and making the ask, and the call to action. You have to give people the call to action, because if they don't know, they're not going to make they're not going to do what you ask them. So it's just a simple mindset shift in making the ask. Okay. And then lastly, I think as I am now growing my business, growing and scaling my business, is documenting and automating the process of what things you are doing in the business. And as solopreneur, and as most entrepreneurs, I think, have a tendency that it's very hard for us to really sit down and really document that process, because it's really to me it's a hard process. It's dreadful to go and think about all the nitty gritty of what we do, and sometimes you need a third party or somebody, right? In my case, I have a manager that's very good, that's very meticulous, and that follows through, right? Me, I tend to like kind of, if I think of something, I'm off on another direction. I'm off in another direction, and so you need somebody to kind of plan that process and help to document that process, so that that process can be automated, can be repeatable, can be a reoccurring activity. All right. So those are three critical things that I want to mention before we finish the live. Um, I know this. I hope that you come out of this. I have actually numbered the fourth. There's actually a fourth thing that I want to mention, is that I think most people find it difficult to actually take action, right? My whole motto is action. Uh, it's not knowledge, but it's knowledge plus implementation is power, right? And I think, throughout my many years of coaching and being an entrepreneur, I think this is not the most critical important, is taking action. So most people, they will listen to what I say, or they will listen, uh, and they will read a book, but they don't actually take action in what they're doing, right? So I implore you to, if you are watching to the very end, I hope that you can absorb what I say and take action and actually implement it in your business so that um, you can increase your revenue, increase your, be abundant in your life. All right. On that note, I am going to let's see if there's any questions. This was a very straightforward me talking, no presentation, but I hope this was helpful for you. If you do find it helpful, write some comments below. Let me know what you think. And if there's other topics that you want me to talk about in the future, please go ahead. Write your comments below. Let me know. DM me on Instagram, LinkedIn, and I do respond to them. Not as much on LinkedIn, but I do get back to people. Okay. All right. On that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. And we're going to talk about how to rank on your Google Business Profile. I'm going to give you the blueprint. Hopefully, by next week, I will have our new Google Business Profile blueprint, and I got some exciting news to share with you about the Google Goldmine course that I have available. I'm going to adjust it and make it. Yeah, I got some exciting news for you next week. All right. Bye now.